Hello friends, Ukraine is marking Constitution Day with strikes on Russian oil refineries. Zelensky is replacing Lenin with Mazepa and Europe is melting from the heat. Plus, Trump is threatening the European Union with tariffs and Poland is raising fuel prices and closing the door to Ukraine's entry into the EU. There's a lot of news, so watch the video until the end. Friends, please give a like, subscribe to the channel right now, and hit the bell. Huge thanks to everyone who doesn't hold back. These simple actions take just 2 seconds. A like in support of aerodynamics. Now let's get down to business. By the way friends, to help promote the video, please write in the comments, Boldy, why aren't you at the front? I'm asking you nicely. Now let's get down to business. Part 1. We'll have timestamps for your convenience. Let's talk about the Ukrainian holiday package. Yes, drones at the oil refinery and the appearance of Mazepa instead of Vladimir Ilyich. Let's start with the immediate context. Ukraine is celebrating Constitution Day. A holiday is a good thing, but they celebrated it with a twist and special effects. Volodymyr Alexandrovich Zelensky, by the way, write in the comments whether he is legitimate or not, expired or not expired. But Zelensky cheerfully reported that the warriors of Ukraine started this day with precision and confirmed drone strikes on Russian territory. In the end, we have hits on 2 oil refineries. The Slavyansky refinery in the Krasnodar region and a facility in the Yaroslavl region were affected. In other words, the range of Ukrainian drones continues to expand, clearly showing that they can now reach quite deep into the territory. But an even more remarkable piece of news, from a historical perspective, came directly from Kyiv itself. At the unveiling of the bust of Hetman Ivan Mazepa in the Kyiv-Pechersk Lavra, Volodymyr Alexandrovich Zelensky announced the installation of a full-fledged monument to this historical figure. And where do you think it will be? Right in the center of Kyiv on Shevchenko Boulevard, across from the Bessarabsky market. Yes. Exactly on that empty pedestal where the monument to Volodymyr Ilyich Lenin, who once firmly stood there and who invented Ukraine, used to be. The wording, of course, is wonderful. Where Lenin fell, Mazepa will stand firmly. Write in the comments what you think. Anyway, folks. Interesting take from Volodymyr Alexandrovich. What do you think? Yes, the hetman in our national historiography, at least as it was told to us in school, was definitely in a certain geopolitical split. Yes, between Peter Furs and Charles XV. Well, what can I say? Yes, what do you think? Will the hetman stand long in Ilyich's place considering his complicated historical fate, or is this just a momentary PR move? Write in the comments what you think about this kind of reshuffling. Do you approve or disapprove? Next, we move to sunny Europe. Oh, here, of course. Yes, this is in part 2 of the video for those who didn't get it. Climate apocalypse. Reality hits harder than tariffs. Yes. At the end of June, an absolutely abnormal, wild heat wave hit. I was also thinking about spending my vacation in Italy, but I'll tell you I was choosing between Campania, that region, and Sicily. But I realized no, probably better to get distracted, to run away. And probably, most likely, I think I wasn't wrong. The temperature in many countries has confidently surpassed the 40 degrees Celsius mark, and here the much-praised European infrastructure of developed capitalism is starting to crack, coming apart at the seams. This is no longer just the weather acting up or getting worse. This is a real emergency situation with hundreds of people dead. The main reports from the temperature front. Sunny Spain, according to the mortality monitoring system, the heat claimed the lives of at least 212 people in just 1 week. In some regions, temperatures soared above 42 degrees, and at night the thermometer didn't drop below 30, but that's most likely Andalusia and the south. Next, France. In Paris, an all-time record of over 40 degrees was recorded. And right away, a terrible domestic tragedy occurred. 4 small children died after being left in overheated cars. More than 50 people drowned while trying to cool off in bodies of water, and the authorities, in a panic, are closing schools and introducing prohibition in public places, banning alcohol. Share your thoughts in the comments. Also, what's the temperature where you are? That's another prompt. Tell us where you're watching from, like Warsaw or Krakow. What's the temperature where you are now, dear friends? Poland is always in our hearts. Next, Italy, Germany. Maximum danger levels have been declared. Hospitals are working at their limits. In Germany, the heat has caused concrete to deform and even explode right on the roads, disrupting transportation. In the United Kingdom, it has reached a level of absurdity. The City of London was supposed to hold a serious conference on combating extreme heat as part of Climate Action Week. And what do you think? Friends, they cancelled it. They cancelled it due to the heat, since the building lacked air conditioning. Well, staying there is now truly life-threatening. There you go. That's capitalism as it is. We're great at talking about saving the planet, but when it comes to installing an air conditioner in the conference hall, well, somehow that just doesn't work out. Belgium. Mass events are being cancelled, including the famous historical reenactment of the Battle of Waterloo, and meteorologists are at a loss. Well, damn. The temperature is 18 degrees above the climate norm, and this hellish dome is moving east. Well, friends, I can say a few words about European infrastructure, which turned out to be unprepared for a regular summer. What do you think? Is this a temporary anomaly or really the first sign of what is called global climate change? I look forward to your authoritative opinions below. Alright, and of course we can't help but say a few words about sunny Poland. Polska is tightening the screws. Prices are going up, and for Ukrainians, oh, you're so troublesome. You need to get ready, right? Since the heat is moving east, let's take a look at Poland, where domestic affairs are taking a very interesting turn. Starting July 1st, Polish drivers face an unpleasant surprise at gas stations. The preferential fuel package is expiring and the VAT rate on fuel is returning to the full 23%. What does this mean in practice, my friends? The average price per liter of gasoline will jump to 6.50 and diesel will be closer to 7. For an economy that relies on automotive logistics, this means an automatic increase in prices for everything. At the same time, the Polish Ministry of Labor decided to show touching concern for workers, but in fact, all these changes will only come into effect on January 1, 2027. What's interesting is why not from, say, May 1, 2027, but specifically from January 1, Poland is introducing strict temperature limits in workplaces. If the temperature in an office or workshop reaches 35 degrees, or during heavy physical labor outdoors it reaches 32 degrees, the boss is required to stop work under threat of huge fines. Starting from 28 degrees, the employer must install air conditioners at their own expense, organize additional breaks, and change shift schedules. But for some reason, utility workers, medical staff, and social services, who were also put on this list, will be left out. They have to work in any weather. But friends, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's all fine. But the real highlight is this fresh Polish sociology. According to a recent survey by the Ibris Institute for Radio Z, interesting name, right, Radio Z, almost 60% of Poles are strongly opposed to Ukraine joining the European Union. Only 35% of those surveyed support this idea, and the division is strictly along party lines. If supporters of the Liberal Tusk coalition are in favor, they say yes, 2 out of 3 say definitely yes, then among the opposition, meaning Kaczynski, Nawrocki, and others, you get it, 3 out of 4 of them say a firm no. That's it? Well, that's how it is, friends, and this is happening exactly at the moment when Brussels has ceremoniously opened the first negotiation cluster on Ukraine's membership. The European Commission says conditions are met, but the Polish public is thumbing its nose. Considering that Poland is facing crucial parliamentary elections in 2027, not a single Polish politician will go against the will of even 60 voters. So, serious tough negotiations are ahead, but I can't say with 100% certainty that Kyiv's EU integration will definitely stall in Warsaw. Negotiations will be tough, but that's how it is. An interesting turn, right? 6 months ago, even a year ago, well, whatever. I remember those times when people used to kiss at the border, right? And now 60 are against it. Share your thoughts. Will Poland fully block Ukraine's EU path, or will Brussels force it through? Is Brussels pressuring Warsaw to give in? We have one more piece of news, friends. A big hello from across the ocean. This is our 4th part of the video. Donald Trump is switching on trade war mode. This is the cherry on top of this geopolitical cake. Or cake, probably cake. Yeah. Another unprecedented act of diplomatic generosity from Washington. Donald Fredovich Trump has issued a harsh ultimatum to the European EU. The White House has promised to impose 100 protective tariffs on any goods from European countries, on those who dare to introduce or continue collecting the so-called digital tax from American IT giants, Apple, Google, Amazon, Netflix, and all sorts of other corporations. Brussels, meaning the European Union, in recent years has really wanted to boost its budgets by making American digital barons, let's call them that, pay taxes where they actually earn money. That is, from European users. And not just transfer billions somewhere to sunny USA, but Trump, as a true representative of the powerful American state, didn't stand on ceremony. His logic is simple and cynical because he's a businessman. He's not a president, he's a politician. And by the way, even Joe Biden, who woke up for a moment, criticized him. He says, well, Donald, just try to touch our dollars and we will completely destroy your export of cars, cheese, and wine. Well, damn, I think wine there costs about $20 in New York. The same wine here in Spain costs €3. Well, whatever. For the European economy, which is already not in the best shape after breaking energy ties with Russia, this is a potential knockdown. Now European officials will either have to swallow their pride and obediently protect American super profits, or take the risk and get involved in a full-scale trade war. Whether they lose or not is a philosophical question. So much for transatlantic solidarity, right? Robbing allies in broad daylight. Do you think Trump will bend old Europe? Or will Brussels actually find the courage to respond with mirror tariffs? Write your opinion in the comments, by the way. I read everything, even the hate, even those saying, "Bold guy, why aren't you at the front?" and so on. Look, friends, here's the conclusion. If we put all these pieces of the puzzle together, the picture turns out to be extremely pragmatic. There's no idealism in world politics, and there never has been. While Kiev is busy changing monuments and sending drones, Europe is melting from the heat and trying to figure out how to survive when its closest ally across the ocean is threatening to crush its economy. Well, okay, not crush, but try to crush the economy, with these tariffs like smearing it against the wall. At the same time, the closest neighbors like Poland are already quietly calculating their own interests, raising gasoline prices and getting ready to block Ukrainian competitors far from the European market, as they say. This is the reality we live in, my friends. Thank you very much for your attention. Leave comments, write the city you're watching from. It's important. Reminder, transfer. Go is the top money transfer service. See the link in the description. Go ahead and register. That's all for now. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Now, see you next time.